What should I do? I'm not married yet, but I will be in 3 months. I, 32, F, and my fiancé, 32, M, have a relationship that is fantastic 99% of the time. We joke around constantly, have shared interests, are there for each other emotionally with any work/family/friend problems, etc. I could go on for hours. This man has truly been there for me, and I trust him with my life, vice versa. Now on to the problem. Today, we were on our way to a local beach. Our day started off a little weird. He wasn't in bed when I woke up and was playing video games. I always feel a little down when I wake up without him, but we both love video games, so that part isn't an issue. He took 2 hours to come have lunch with me, and then was very quiet and kind of difficult to connect with. I reminded him of the beach plan and left to get ready. He went back to enjoying his time and took a nap as well. When I was ready, I gently woke him and we headed out. The whole way there, I'm trying to flirt and make conversation, try to get some laughs out of him as well. He was very quiet still and seemed totally disinterested. I ask what's wrong and he says I have low energy. I begin to feel slightly frustrated because usually low energy is a sign that he won't respond to me when I talk, and he will give me what feels like the cold shoulder. He doesn't see it that way and calls it being chill and low-key. I tried to not say anything else, but I blurt out, if this was a first date, I feel like you would be more engaged. He really didn't like that, understandable, and became really defensive. We go back and forth a bit. Nothing of much substance was said on either side. He asks if I'd rather go home and I say no. I would rather be reassured about what I'm feeling and that I want to have a good time with him going forward. It just didn't feel like he cared if I was having a good time. Fast forward to the beach. We arrive and he simply says, "I'm sorry. I don't know why I got so angry." I didn't know what to say because I felt like the original problem I had wasn't addressed really, so I just made the move to head to the beach hoping things would get better. We set everything up, but things are still awkward. He tries tickling me and poking me with random things he finds in the sand. This is his usual MO. He will typically just blurt out a quick sorry, but not address why, and then proceed to tease me or give me food or a gift to get me over things faster. This time it was just too annoying for me to deal with, and I just kind of ignored what he was doing. I didn't want to get into it now that we were on the beach, but I couldn't fake it either, so I was stumped on what to do. I started reading, and he sunbathed. He started doing it again, and finally I whispered that it just wasn't working for me, and I'd rather clear the air first than get back to normal. I have talked to him about this before, but it doesn't change ever substantially. He was annoyed by me and immediately started looking away. He never looks at me when we disagree. I tried clearing the air, but it devolved into him being angry with me. He basically said that he feels burnt out from working all week, and on Sunday, he just wants to rest. He feels like he carries the weight of too many things. I am disabled and have multiple autoimmune disorders, so my life, and therefore his, revolves around that. It's very unfortunate, and I do all I can to mitigate the side effects, but I can't control everything. Summed up, he wants me to do more around the house and share more of the burdens, like more grocery shopping, cooking, picking up my meds, etc. While I understand this, I also explained to him that he undoes a lot of my work at home. I typically work all day in short bursts to preserve my joints, which helps my efficiency. However, when he comes home, he immediately throws his clothes on the floor everywhere. The living room, the bedroom, the bathroom, everywhere but the hamper. I've accepted this begrudgingly. He eats dinner and leaves plates all over the coffee table and multiple cans of soda and other trash. Receipts and coins end up every random place possible. Hair and toothpaste all over the mirror and sink usually within a day or two of me cleaning it. Honestly, whenever I start to clean, I think of how it will be undone the same day and I stop caring. It makes me unable to do anything. I feel paralyzed. I explained this, but I'm not sure if it sunk in. He's not very good at making me feel heard. I always ask, does that make sense? Or I won't get a response. We go back and forth about responsibilities, and he's implying that he would have more energy for me on the weekends if he didn't have to do as much for the family. In theory, it makes sense, but we've been together for a decade in every living situation possible in so many phases of life. Not being engaged fully while on a date is not a new thing. It doesn't happen every time, but it's enough to be a concern for me. We head home, and this is where things take a turn. While the beach conversation was mostly respectful, I did have to keep reminding him to keep his voice down, and I had to word things very carefully because he was on the defense and kept getting riled up. In the car, things got worse. It became clear that despite worries about chores and responsibilities, the main difference we have is that he really just wants alone time on Sunday before the work week, and I want to spend time together because I barely see him during the week. Neither of us is really wrong for what we want, but inherently these wants conflict. My main takeaway from this part was a comment he made along the lines of, "When I want to be alone and I have to be with you instead, it makes me angry." He immediately said he worded that wrong and acknowledged that he sounded like an asshole. He is admittedly not good with words, but my goodness, that was a knife to the heart. I was in such shock after that I barely remember what else was said. We arrive home. He heads in to check on our dogs, and I have a panic attack in the car. I then go take a shower and have another one. Then I go out to the garden and have a third one. After I calm down, I go sit at my computer and start wish-listing video games on Steam just to distract myself. My fiancé almost immediately gifts me the game I was just looking at. I guess he was checking in on me to see what I was doing. I was happy to get the game, but so upset still that it barely helped me. He came to join me after a while, hugged me, kissed me, said I love you, and was trying to smooth things over, I guess. I felt numb to it all. I sat in silence while he just watched me. He leaves for a bit, comes back and offers to heat me up some food. More hugs. I leave to go eat and have another crying Jack. The comment he made just kept replaying in my head over and over. Finally, I decide to be a big girl and go tell him how that made me feel. I repeat his comment back and just ask him to think of how he would feel if I said that to him. He turns almost completely around in his chair. He does this whenever he's upset. He won't look me in the eye, face towards me, and usually his responses jump from mumbling to outbursts. It is very disconcerting, and I'm not the first girl he's been with that has been off-put by this behavior. He raises his voice and says sorry again. He sounded frustrated by having to say it. He says, "I don't know why you're with me. I wouldn't be with me. I'm an asshole. I'm a terrible person. That's just the truth. I need to stop being so damn selfish. Maybe I'm an abuser. Maybe I'm an emotional abuser." I was really taken aback by this and said, "Are you saying I should leave you? Do you want me to leave you?" He adamantly says no. I say that I wouldn't be with him if I thought he was an abuser, but I admit that he's freaking me out talking that way. After a bit of awkward silence, he turns the conversation back to all the other topics we touched on today and says I don't mean to distract from what you're talking about, but proceeds to do just that. He ends up implying that he wouldn't have made that cruel comment if I hadn't said the first date comment and started this whole disagreement. I was feeling thrown off kilter at this point. It felt like whiplash a bit the way this whole interaction was going. I did say I was shocked that he went from calling himself an abuser and taking all the blame to now trying to turn it back on me. I said that I felt even with my comment, his comment was pretty extreme and unwarranted. I did apologize for my comment at this point and said I wished I had opened the conversation differently and I was sorry for hurting his feelings. He tells me that yes, we've been together for 10 years, and he would show more energy on a first date. So I guess my comment wasn't wrong at all, but struck a nerve. He was trying to say that since we've been together so long, he felt comfortable being quiet and just being authentic versus faking it. On one hand, I do want him to be comfortable, but I don't think I'm asking for too much. I simply want him to respond when I talk and be a little more lighthearted/open. I don't want to be ignored and treated without consideration. I don't need him to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader every day, but can't he be relaxed without acting like he sees through me? Things got quiet again, and I noticed he was still turned away. I asked him to please look at me, and he wouldn't. I asked more about how long before me he's had to do this, and apparently it's been lifelong. His other serious girlfriend noticed it, and it bothered her too. He told me he doesn't feel safe looking at people who he's made upset. I mentioned how brave he is in every other aspect of his life and not afraid to confront people. He said he's only able to do that outside the home because those people don't matter. I tried to convince him once again how helpful it can be when we can see each other's expressions and body language. I want him to be brave and try to connect with me. I was trying hard to be encouraging, but it had no effect. I said, "Babe, we are getting married really soon, and this is something I hope you can work on for me. I would really feel better when we argue if we can talk face to face." He agreed to work on it while also admitting he doesn't see it as a problem. He was visibly agitated at this point and said he won't work on it today, but later on. He then storms out of the room and slams the door. Not sure if intentional or not, the door is very heavy. I go see where he's at, and he's in bed pretending to sleep. Sorry for the long-ass story, but I feel like I didn't know what to cut out. Obviously, we both have issues. He has communication problems, and I clearly have anxiety and some insecurity to work on, among other things. I wish I could make it clear how great everything is on a normal day. I know everyone always says that though, and it might be hard to believe. We only fight very rarely, but when we do, it's like this. Two goats going head to head. I'm not sure what advice I'm seeking, but exactly. I guess I wonder what you would do. Should I drop it after today? Try to pick up more slack at home and see if this problem solves itself? Should I talk to someone? Should I be worried about the things he said? Or is it really just my fault? I feel so bad that I opened this can of worms without meaning to.